Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I want to talk about the tournament that happened yesterday in Fortnite, the 250,000 Summer Skirmish hosted by Epic Games. Epic Games got shit on this tournament completely by the whole community, basically. And I want to give my opinion and talk a little bit about it, what Epic Games can do to make the next tournaments better. And there's a lot of things to talk about, so this video is gonna be a little bit longer, but everyone is giving their opinion right now on Twitter, on Reddit, everywhere, but it's always like just these little snippets. So I wanted to do a structured video where I go step by step through all the issues that happened and what to do basically to kind of fix them. And first I want to do a short introduction. In the top right corner you always see what I'm gonna talk about, so you can also skim through the video if you want to skip a part. But first I want to introduce myself and want to say or want to give you an opinion why my opinion might matter. So I'm a pro player, I'm a Fortnite pro player. I have around 1,700 plus wins. I'm at the moment rank 18, 16 or something in the world when it comes to solo wins on PC all time across all seasons. I also have played quite a bit in the custom pro scrims basically that were hosted for a long time and are now hosted again in the EU region, where a lot of pro players, literally like 100 pro players in the same server, played together. And from there, I know already, and a lot of people knew already, that this was gonna happen, what happened in this tournament, talking about the lag issues and stuff like this, because this is not something new. Like, this is in the game since months, and it was an issue always in the pro games, and there was many different, by the community, many different scoring systems tried out, and there's one in particular, which I played in a tournament, which worked basically like a charm, and I want to talk about this as the first thing, basically the scoring system and the meta, basically, because if Epic Games can shift the meta in a way and make the scoring system in a way that you have fights all game long, early game fights, mid game fights, all the time, just like in normal Fortnite games basically, and that there is not 50 players in the last, I don't know, 4 circles left, then a lot of the other issues will fix themselves automatically. So how, as a recap, how was the scoring yesterday? And yes, I know Epic said they want to try a lot of different scoring models, but I again want to put a very, very deep emphasis on this scoring model and the idea that I present to you, because I have played in a tournament like this already and it worked really, really well. But again, real quick about yesterday. So $250,000 was the prize pool, and $50,000 was first place money. On top of this, $6,500 every game for the team which gets the most kills. Those $6,500 you can already like basically remove because it doesn't matter. Because there's so much money, those $50,000 or like the whole $250,000 prize pool is so much for every single player that plays there. Even for the very big names, even for like Myth, for example, that we see right here, for Myth and Hamlin's, even for them, $50,000 is a lot of money for just playing a tournament for 2 or 3 hours. So you don't want to make a mistake, especially in a duo or squad scenario. For example, right here, Hamlin's got picked here. This was a really, really, really bad play in my opinion. Like, he got picked completely in the open and it was a big mistake. And mistakes like this you really don't want to do, because if they happen, it might be that the tournament is over basically by one of those mistakes. And this is the reason why the whole camping meta exists in the way it does, like so crazy. It is because you don't want to make a mistake, and camping is the easiest thing in Fortnite to do. If you're in your box and someone stands right in front of you with an AR, the person has to do AR, switch to walls, try to replace your walls, try to shoot from different angles, and what you have to do as the defensive player, all you have to do, you just sit in your box and hold the left mouse button. Everyone could do that. And this is basically one thing. It's very, very easy to camp, but it's very, very hard to play aggressive and very risky to play aggressive. And in a scenario where every mistake could cost you the tournament life, you don't want to play aggressive. The structure in this tournament was set in a way, you play 10 games and the first team that goes to 2 wins wins the first prize money, so the $50,000. The issue with this is, the first game a team will win, in this case Liquid won, so from now on everyone knows, fuck, we need to win this game, because otherwise there's a chance that Liquid wins and then the tournament is over. So you play as safe as possible, and that means every consecutive game gets even more crazy campy. And then this whole lag issue comes in, which we talk about a little bit later on. But this is basically because so many people are live and so much things are happening at the same time. Now to the scoring system that I propose, that I played already, that works. Basically, so this tournament was hosted by Trimax. He's a very big German YouTuber slash streamer. And he hosts constantly like more like fun tournaments with like different rule sets and stuff. And he also tried a little things. And one thing that worked very, very well in particular, even in a pro scenario where there was 100 pros in the lobby, the system was going as following. You also play 10 games, like right here, in this game, but you don't make it that the first team that 2 wins get wins. You make it that only the best 3 or 4 games, for example, out of those 10 counts. So how it works basically, you play your first game and you're team X and you start playing. You know right away, wait, this is game 1 out of 10, and if we lose this first game, it doesn't matter. We have 9 more games to try to get 3 good scorings in. And it's very, very important that in this system, obviously kills matter a lot so that you incentivize aggressive gameplay. The thing is, you can make kills worth infinite points. It doesn't matter. Even if you make kills half, like let's say the winner gets 100 points and every kill gets 50 points. People will still camp in a normal scoring system or in a normal tournament scenario, because as long as you survive, you pick more and more kills up on the way anyways. Like, and every single time when you engage in someone aggressively, you have a chance of dying basically. And it's just not worth it, because every game that you play, you're not allowed to make a mistake basically. Like you want to survive, because every single position that you get higher gives you guaranteed points plus the chance to pick up more kills. If you go aggressive for kills, you might die, don't get those additional points, and don't get the kills. Best case scenario, you get the kill, you get a few more points, and then you have a next engagement and might die there. So what you want to do is, you want to play very, very passive and just pick up the kills on the way, which are safe basically. And this is the big problem. And if you make it that not every game counts and only the best X game out of Y games count, you automatically incentivize aggressive play. And in the tournament that I played, it worked like a charm. Like my teammate and I, we understand right away, wait, we can play super aggressive. It doesn't matter if we die, because we have more games. At some point, if you fuck up very often, few games in a row, then you know, okay, now we need to play a little bit safer. We need to get good scorings in to get us on the board, basically, on the scoring system. But what happened for us, for example, we got one game where we got an insane amount of kills. We got like 11, 12 kills, which is... Some people might say this is not a lot, but this is an insane amount of kills in a pro scenario. On a public server, this is obviously not a lot, but in a pro scenario where you only have good players, this is a lot of kills. And still, we died very early in the game. We died around rank 20 or something like this, and we didn't even play a role in the late game, but still, we were the team which got the most points, and we got a very big scoring in, even though we were not winning. And moving on from this, we tried to stay aggressive. We had a few games where we just died early in fights, because like it just happens. If 2 very good teams fight against each other, if FaZe fights against TSM and they fight against each other, even as let's say FaZe is better than TSM or TSM is better than Myth, TSM is better than FaZe, it will always happen that you only have like a 55 or a 60% chance to win the fight. Like you never have a 100 or a 90% chance to win the fight. There's so many things that matter. How much materials you have, your loadout, how much health you have, how much health your enemy has, and so on. So it's always this very dynamic field, and you never can guarantee that you win an engagement. So what needs to happen is that if you lose the engagement, you don't get punished that much. And you can do this by not counting every games. And again, we played this and it worked very well. But one thing that needs to happen in the game as well to make this very, very awesome for the players, but also for the viewers, is a live scoring board that updates in real time, in-game, and in a web interface on Twitch or something, that everyone can see at any single second who is alive. And what's the scoring right now in all games combined. And Epic Games has all those data. It's just basically, it has to be like a scoring system like this has to be implemented. And maybe Epic Games needs a few more weeks or even a month or something to do something like this. But it's very important because what happened yesterday, obviously they canceled it at some point, but they didn't even know who was the winner. Like, it's still like people were asking who won now. Like, and basically, if every team knows at any point live how many at any point how many points they have. Let's say for example right now Courage, he knows he's in this game right now, it's let's say game 8 out of 10, and they know they are 10 points behind the leading team right now. Then they know, okay, right now we need to play aggressive, we want to get first place. Other team, which is all the way down on the leaderboards, they know, fuck, our only chance right now is if we get 5 kills and then we maybe climb into the money ranks. So we need to play super aggressive. Other teams, like the ones that are leading right now, that are in first place, they know, wait, we are in first place right now, we can play safe. So it creates this very, very interesting scenario where all kind of players, some play very aggressive, some play passive, and this is exactly what we need in Fortnite basically. But again, the whole idea about this is make not every game count, because you don't want it that one mistake can cost your tournament life. Let the people play aggressive, and if they fuck up, they still have more chances later in the tournament. And how exactly the scoring would work, that's something to figure out. It could be, for example, 3 out of 10 games. The less games out of a very large amount, the more aggressive we'll play. Let's say you make 1 out of 10, only one game counts, then everyone play hyper aggressive. Because only one big scoring you need in those 10 games. So everyone will play hyper aggressive, it goes crazy. But that would be probably too much. Something like 3 out of 10 would probably work very good. In our tournament, I think it was 4 out of 10, but I'm not 100% sure anymore. If you would, for example, that 9 out of 10 games count, then you would make passive camping again very viable, because every scoring matters and everyone just plays passive and goes deeper and deeper into the game, makes a nice even scoring, like 50 points there, 40 points there, not getting a lot of kills, but always putting the name on the board. And try to not fuck up a single game where you get 0 points, because then it's over if every game or if 9 out of 10 games count. But if only 3 out of 10 count, then you know psychologically you have to play aggressive, because other teams will also play aggressive, and it's just this very like dynamic. One team starts playing aggressive, gets a lot of points, another team starts playing aggressive, gets a lot of points, and then other people see, okay, we have to start playing aggressive again to pick it up. And on top of this, I think you want to make the prize pools a little bit more top heavy, because yesterday there was like $50,000 for first place, $37,000 for second place, 30 for third, and so on. It was not very top heavy, the payment. And if you make it very top heavy, on top of that, making it that not every game counts, you incentivize very, very aggressive game play. So this was the most important topic that I wanted to talk about, and this, if this works out, also in a pro scenario, this changes everything. This removes the lag from the game. This makes it more fun to watch, because there will be fights in early games. Right from the get-go, there will be fights, because in the beginning, it's the easiest basically to pick up kills when not everyone is super stacked. Let's say you find a shotgun, you find like a shield right away, and you know a team is over at the other house. You want to go over and take the fight, because it's kills that you potentially get. With the current system, it's like, fuck, I have a shotgun. The thought process, I want to run over and get those kills, but the kills don't matter really, and if I fuck up, we are out of this game right here, and it's one chance to get our win on the board, and if one team gets 2 wins, it's already over. So you decide like, okay, I'm not going over, and a fight will never happen, because every team thinks the same, and this is the big problem. And now we come basically to the second point, the lag, which basically results out of this. So the lag issues, they will start happening right now, basically. Also, you see in the background, I show basically the first game of the game, and you see how small the circle gets already. And there is still 39 players left. Why is there 39 players left? Because nobody gets incentivized to fight. And even if there would be a fight where a player like Myth knows, for example, hey, I get this kill, he will still not get the fight, because he gets into the engagement, might get the kill, but then obviously, it's not guaranteed that he gets the kill. He could still fuck up, especially if the game runs very bad. And even if he gets the kill, there's so many other teams that could pick him up right away. So the thought process is always first, safety first, and then. But again, if you if you know, wait, we can fuck up this game and the next game we have another chance without having anything lost, then you go for this engagement. What will happen then is that right now we don't have 39 players left, but for example only 20 players right now. And then if the circle closes all the way, there's maybe only 15 players and maybe 10 players. We saw that there was still lag going on with 10 players left. And this is obviously a problem. The reason why this was happening is there is so much building. Everyone has so many materials, so much building, so much explosives that destroys building again. People fall down. So many things have to be calculated, players' positions, damage, which structures goes down, which structures get built fresh, that the server just starts spazzing out. So basically what needs to happen, a meta where everyone fights all the time, just like in public lobbies basically. And on top of this, the servers need to get a little bit better, and there needs to be less structures on the map basically. One way to do this is basically if the storm, like right now the storm is closing in, and there is this idea from the community, like look, Team the Tatman, he might be not the best sniper in the world, but there is no way that he ever hits this shot because he's lagging like crazy and the enemies is lagging like crazy. Like this is not gameplay that you can ever do. But anyways, one idea from the community was that the storm slowly destroys structures. Like everything that is in the structure in the storm right now gets slowly destroyed over 5 or 10 seconds, for example. This is an idea that comes from the community and might work. We don't know how this would work. Maybe it puts even more strain on the server because all the structures needs to be destroyed. But maybe there's a smart way, coding-wise, to do this basically. This is one thing. Other thing is that Epic Games already hinted, and a lot of people also said, and other pro players said we should not do this. But I'm the strong opinion right now that there is way too many materials to disposal. If you play a duo game and you play very safe and you farm all the way in the beginning, which everyone did in those games, you might have 6,000 materials across 2 players. 6,000 materials. That's just so much. And even if you don't have max everything, even if you just have 1,500 each player, it's still 3,000 materials, and that's a lot. My suggestions would be to try out, make a 500 material cap per material, so 500 wood, 500 brick, 500 metal, so half at what's currently, but make the farming almost double as fast or double as fast, so it's easier to get the materials, so that it's not that long boring farming, but you can't have that much in total maximum, so that you can spam your building forever and just turtle, because you will run out, so that you have to play a little bit smarter. That would be, for example, also one way to make the whole lag issue a little bit better. But the biggest thing is, there's just too many players alive in the end, and this is pretty clear, and all of this can be solved with the right scoring system. And yes, I know Epic Games said in all kind of ways they want to test out different systems, and this is also why I want this video. I want that this gets a little bit exposure, that maybe even like people who host those tournaments from Epic Games, that they see it and try it out, because I saw it. This system worked way better than this. It's still not perfect. There's so many other issues, like for example, there was no spectator mode. That's the next point where we come to commentators and camera. There was no spectator mode. They just jumped from stream to stream to stream to stream. The problem is, people have different sound levels on their stream. They talk different languages. They have advertisement. They have webcams. They have all this kind of stuff, which makes it very unpleasant to watch in a esports environment. There needs to be a spectator in the game, several spectators in the game, and they need to be basically professionals at the game who know exactly what to film, which engagements. It is very, very hard in a Battle Royale game, and PUBG had exactly the same issue in the first tournaments, and they might still have the same issues. I don't know, I haven't watched those tournaments in a long time, but the first tournaments in PUBG were also an absolute shitfest, because the camera work was so bad. It also happened here all the time. There was finally an interesting engagement in the tournament, and then they jump mid-fight from one team to another, and like the viewers are, what, we want to know what happened. And something like this should never happen, basically. And this will automatically get better over time when the team work together more often and when they get more experience. The commentators got shit on as well a lot from the community, because they were laughing at people because they had lag issues and stuff like this. And I also say, like, this was really, really bad from the commentators, but at the same time, we should not go too hard on them, because they were in a very, very awkward position as well. They get hired by Epic Games to put on a nice show, and the tournament doesn't run very well. you can't just shit in the commentary all the time in the commentators. Like, you just don't do that. You just go with the flow and try to make it as good as possible. But still, you don't want to laugh at players, obviously. So what needs to happen is obviously spectator mode, a good spectator mode. People that work together very well, commentators plus camera team, so that they are a very engaged team. And what I would say, use commentators from the communities. Use a Dr. Lupo. Use players that have a very, very deep understanding from the game. Obviously, a lot of them want to play by themselves, but I mean, there's different rosters, different layouts in those tournaments, different people will play. So in the future, like, just use people that know the game very, very well, that played on a very high level by themselves, and that are community stars, that the community, like, knows, basically, and it will be way better already. But like, there just needs to be a spectator mate. But look at this, look at the lag here. Like, we all saw it, it's unplayable. And also, like, this is just a learning process. I really like that Epic Games said, hey, we cancel now this tournament, it's over, basically, we start working on it. But the next tournament will come, and we need to have a discussion how to make it better, because there is people that say BR games cannot be esports because of the RNG. Like, there's no way that the BR game will ever be esports ready. And here's my opinion about this. This is wrong on so many levels, because RNG is good. RNG makes it exciting. You don't want to have too much RNG, obviously, but RNG makes it that the player who is in the worst position at the moment, he gets like a lucky engagement, a lucky C4 or something, like some RNG factor, a circle in his favor, whatever, and suddenly he has an advantage against the player who was in the advantage just a few seconds ago, and it makes it very, very dynamic. It makes it that not always the same team wins. And what you want with RNG is that you play a lot of games, so that the RNG equals out over a lot of games. So basically, you might get fucked in one game by circles and stuff, but if you play 10 games, if you play a lot of tournaments over a large sample size, we will know who are the best players in the world. Like, everyone gets fucked from time to time by the circle. But RNG makes it actually exciting to a certain degree. It should be not that everything is RNG, basically, but Fortnite is a very, very good way, because there's a lot of RNG, but on top of this, there's also, with the building, you can equalize a lot of the RNG, basically, that's happening. So, in my opinion, if it's done well, Battle Royale games will be one of the best esports in the world to watch. It will be so freaking fun, but there needs to be things that needs to be worked on. And the last point that I want to talk about right now is the qualifier and the invitation process, basically. Because Epic Games, like, this tournament mostly consisted of big streamers and entertainment and big names of the community that everyone knows. And that's also a very good idea for the first tournaments, because you want to create hype, basically. You want to create hype. A lot of viewers know, like, they cheer for their streamer that they love, obviously, and that's a good thing. But the problem is, if you always invite the same streamers, the same people of the community, the community thinks, for example, that, let's say Liquid right here, that they are now the best players in the world because they won the first game, they got second in the second game, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people never got the chance. A lot of really, really good players never got the chance to even participate in those tournaments. Like, there's this pro scene, and there's players that are so insanely good at this game. They are not like big streamers in any way or something like this, but they are insane. They're really, really insane at this game, and nobody ever saw them except, like, in this little bubble in the pro community. People know each other, obviously. And basically, in the future, I think it should be done in a way that it's like a 50-50 mix between celebrities, big streamers, amateurs, fun players, and 50% pros, like, that are only getting in the tournaments by qualifiers. Like, that not just get invited, like, that get in there for free, but basically, like, for example, a 50-50 mix, like I said. But again, this is also something Epic said already. They will work on this. They will change the qualifiers process, for example, stuff like this. Because there's people, I know a lot of people, and for example, I'm also one of them. I worked for the last basically year or 3/4 of a year, every single day for like 8 to 10 hours on the game, and tried to get better and try to get better. And there's players that even, like, that are still so much better than me in the pro scene. Like, so many people are on a god level, basically, and they are also so much better than all those popular streamers out there that mostly play in those tournaments. and the whole gameplay will be again on another level if those people get in those tournaments. If there is mainly pro players, like a lot more pro players in there, and you have it incentivized that they have to fight against each other to get points, like with the system that I said earlier, then it might be a crazy, crazy pleasure to watch. But at the same time, you always want those community stars in the tournament as well, because like many of those guys, they are really, really good players at Fortnite, and at the same time, they are also really good entertainers, and they are stars of the community. They might be not on the very, very, very top level, but they are really good. So they still have a chance, because of RNG and because of different situations, to still win those tournaments, and this is really, really good. What should not happen is, in my opinion, that there are teams in the tournament where everyone knows from the beginning that they have no chance. If there is two entertainers that play Fortnite for fun, that play together in a duo team, they will probably have never a chance to win this tournament over a course over 10 matches, for example. So what should have done in this place, in this case, that one very good player and one amateur player plays together, like kind of like in the Pro AM, so that it's like very, very interesting who watches. If there is two amateur playing together, two celebrities playing together, everyone knows they will never have a chance because they will lose almost every single engagement. But if it's one celebrity, one pro, it's way more interesting. And Epic Games did that already. That's just one point, because what's the point of having a team in the tournament just for famous reasons when everyone knows they will never compete, like they will have never a chance to win, basically. So in the end, I just want to recap everything real quick. Want to give my opinion again. I think it was a good first start in the tournament. The biggest issue was the lag, basically, that happened, and it was even worse than I would have expected. Like, this was really, really bad lag, and this needs to be, in my opinion, tackled before the next tournament starts, because the next tournament will otherwise also in a disaster. And if Epic Games now thinks, for example, hey, let's only make 50 players instead of 100 players in the lobby, this will fix the lag issues. Don't do this. This will fix nothing, because the 50 players will spread equally up, and the same, like let's say there was 40 players left in the 5th circle, the same 40 players will be again left if you only start with 50 players, because like they just spread more on the map out. There will be even fewer engagements. You want to start with 100 players or with as many players as possible, and also you want to have fights all game long, basically, so that slowly the numbers trickle down. And if you incentivize those fights with the system that I said, then the numbers will trickle down. Like, I saw it in the tournament, and we played it over a course of 10 matches, and it worked every single game. It was super exciting to watch, and this was even without any spectator mode or anything. Yeah, so this is my opinion on this everything. Again, this is not like carved in stone. Like, not what I'm saying, I don't say this is true. This is my opinion, and this is to get the ball rolling. Now it's your turn, guys. On Reddit, on YouTube, wherever, put your comments in. Say what you think I was completely wrong or what I was right. Give your opinions so that we get a better understanding, basically. And the more people give their opinion, like I saw it already on Twitter, everywhere it was happening. And I just wanted to give like my idea in a video form to you guys, to present it to you. And hopefully if Epic Games gives it a try, because this would be really, really awesome. So I want to say thanks for watching, everyone. That was me, Blikandu, and I hope we see us in the next one, next stream. I will be part of the discussion as well everywhere in this matter, because it's very, very important. I think Fortnite can be one of the biggest esports titles ever, and we should not write it off just because of like this one tournament. It's a learning process, and we can make this together an awesome thing. So please have a awesome, constructive criticism in the comments, and don't be like, oh my god, Epic Games is so bad, they're devs, they can't fix shit. Like, this won't help anyone. Give your opinions, give solutions, and then we have it together. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.